Hey guys, thanks for listening to my project. My health topic is, can fiber reduce mortality? I felt this topic was extremely relevant because, especially nowadays, there's people that are petitioning different diets online, such as vegan diets, carnivore diets, and as we all know, these are like cancellation diets pretty much. So you have eliminating a complete food group from your diet, which, some people are recommending, but what common science would tell you is unhealthy. And the topic, can fiber reduce mortality, is interesting because fiber is found in so many foods, everything from breakfast cereals to dietary supplements and fruits and vegetables. And I thought this topic would be related to this class because, like, as we're in dimensions of aging, we know that nutrition is a big part of how you age. So if there is something that can help you live longer and live a healthier life and have better working years, then it would be very interesting to know. And fiber is supposedly, according to online, decreasing the risk of mortality by 10%. So now we have to determine, is this a true fact? So the health topic I chose made some very interesting claims, specifically being that for every 10 grams of fiber you intake daily, as it increases, you will also be reducing mortality by 10%. This sounds pretty amazing when you think of it, because now you have to wonder, why isn't everybody eating fiber? Why isn't everybody having their daily Metamucil? Now, when we research this, we do find some interesting results. According to a study published in the American Journal of Epidemiology, there is a reduced risk in mortality by 10% per every 10 grams. And this was done via meta-analysis studies. So I looked at studies all the way from 1995 to 2000, and they kind of just composited them together and looked at what different variables came out from that. And there was a 22% decrease in mortality in general. And then for every 10 grams, there was a 10% risk in mortality. For those wondering how they completed these studies, most were done via like a 24-hour diet analysis. So they would ask people what they ate for the day. And just like you have the app like MyFitnessPal on your phone, it pretty much just calculates, calories, nutritional value. And so they would have people examine what they ate for an entire 24 hours. And then after that, they would calculate the amount of fiber that was consumed, and also was it taken in via fruits, vegetables, bread, or other dietary resources. And this type of studying is up to not debate, but there is risk just because of people's anecdotal evidence. But this testing can still be considered accurate. So every participant in this test was ranged from the age of 25 to 75 years old, and then they accounted for different statistics such as overall diets, as well as smoking versus non-smoking, and they eliminated certain pre-existing health conditions. For example, those with cancer were omitted from the test, as well as those with pre-existing heart conditions, just because this will obviously skew the results at the end. Over the course of the 5 years, they had follow-up statements. So they would basically have people come in, and then they would talk about what they ate that day, and they would continually do this over the course of 5 years. And then the test really determined its results by people dying and then relating it to how much fiber they ate. So there are some flaws with this sort of method, because you can't really have a causation with this. You can only have a correlation. So it did correlate that the fiber reduced the mortality rates. But then again, we do not know how these people died. They did factor in people had certain health conditions such as cancer, respiratory disease, circulatory disease, digestive disease, and non-cancerous inflammatory disease. And this was compared with a negative control of other diseases. So they were comparing specific diseases versus diseases that weren't listed in their test. And this is how majority of these sort of fiber tests were performed. And then the trend that is showing based on a meta-analysis is that the more fiber you eat, you are decreasing your risk of mortality. So is this fake news? Not quite. Based on what we see in studies, it appears that as you increase your fiber intake, you also decrease your mortality rate. While the claim made on Instagram was that for every 10 grams you increase, you will be decreasing your mortality rate by 10%. This was found as a trend line in studies, but there is a limit with this, because there is a point where this plateaus. So you can't just intake 50 grams of fiber and hope to decrease your mortality rate by 50%. Otherwise, we would all be taking down pounds of this stuff right here. But if you do look for a way to increase your health and also lower your mortality rate that is realistic, and it's something you can easily add to your daily diet, fiber is a great way to do that. So increase your fruit and vegetable intake, which also has an array of other benefits, including like micronutrients and also just filling out like carbohydrates. And then, you can have bread, you can have legumes, and anything that can increase your fiber will be healthy, and it has been shown to lower cardiovascular disease, and in this case, also reduce the risk of mortality. And remember, one fun fact about fiber is that dietary fiber can only be found in plant foods. So don't dodge your fruits and veggies just for something like a carnivore diet. Make sure that you are intaking at least those. I appreciate you guys for listening to my presentation, and I hope that you learned a lot. Thank you.